Hello again, Luke, the Geek of Steel here, and I'm here with podcast number 2. And in this podcast, I'm going to be answering a question that I get asked quite a lot, and that is, why Superman? My normal answer is, why not? But in this chat, I'm going to be trying to answer that question as thoroughly as I can. I'm going to try and scratch the surface as to why Superman means so much to me, why he has become my hero of choice, and just it's going to be a therapy session for me as to why Superman is such an important symbol in my life. So we might as well start at the beginning. Now I can't really pinpoint the exact moment when I knew that Superman was the hero for me. He's always been around, as he has been for most of the world. That Superman symbol is as recognizable as a Coca-Cola sign. It's something that's always been there. That classic S symbol, those red, yellow, and blue colors. Um, but for me, the what would some people may class as an obsession began when I started watching the television show Smallville in the early 2000s. I came across it by chance one Sunday morning when I was watching television, and I was like, wow, I recognize this story. And of course, it was the story of a young Superman. And I grew to love that show. I still love it. To this day, it is my favorite television show. I've watched this all the seasons many times, and I've been fortunate enough to meet some of the actors who have entertained me for so many years. But I will be talking about those in a separate podcast. So yeah, Smallville. I began watching it. I began connecting to the characters and the storylines, and from that, I wanted to know more about the history of Superman. I started reading more comics. I started getting into the character more and the stories from across the years. Now, obviously, the original Superman movie came out in 1978, and like most children of my generation, I watched those films a lot growing up, and I love them, and I still love them to this day. But it was Smallville that started building this passion of Superman for me, and that's why the show will always have a very special place in my geeky heart. So yeah, I started reading the comics, the stories, and then pretty much started collecting from that point as well. And that's when, for friends and family, it became very easy for them to buy me gifts for my birthday and Christmas, as Superman items are pretty much everywhere. So we don't know what to get Luke, so let's find him something with that classic S on it. So yeah, started reading the comics, loving the comics, and then bonding more with the characters, both Superman and Clark Kent. I love those characters equally. They are both two very special and individual personalities, which fictional characters which mean a lot to me. So yeah, so from Smallville, there were the movies, the originals, the modern days. I love all interpretations of my hero. As long as Superman's story is being told, the longer he is going to be around, and I am all for that. With me, particularly on Instagram, sharing Superman photos every day, I am doing my bit as a fan to share the love for the man of tomorrow, that last son of Krypton. But why Superman? It's not enough that it's very good stories and television shows and movies. What about Superman means so much to me? Um, I often get another question is why don't you like Batman, or why don't you like Wolverine or Spider Man? Those cool heroes. Well, to begin with, Superman is cool for me, but if I want a cool superhero to follow, Batman or Spider Man or Wolverine or Deadpool would be that hero for me. But I want Superman. I want Clark Kent. I want that person that no matter what they do, They try to do the best choice, the right choice. They want to do good. And no matter their actions, they want to be the best person, the best version of themselves. And that's how I want to be. Just face each day as it comes, but with each new day, try and be better than the person you were yesterday. Superman's a good guy. So is Clark Kent. They've got manners. They've got personality. They've got charm. Both Superman and Clark. And that's how I try to be. I want to be that way. I may not be able to fly or lift a car or save a cat from a tree, but just like everybody else, I have the ability to be nice and polite and positive. And that's how I want to be every day. A good person. That's what Superman and Clark Kent want to be. And so do I. You know, there's a right and a wrong, Superman once said. And I know the difference between right and wrong, and I always try to do the right thing, no matter what. And that's why I like Superman. Well, one of the many reasons why I like Superman. It's the stories, it's the character, it's that symbol of hope that we all can recognize. And he's just a hero that I love and aspire to be like. He's a good guy. He's a good egg, some might say. What else about Superman? I love those colours. That red, yellow, and blue. I love the costume. I loved all the costumes over the years. And I've been fortunate enough to stand in the presence of them. And that was a very emotional moment for me. And I wish I could go back and see those costumes again one day, because standing there in front of Christopher Reeves and Brandon Routh's and Henry Cavill's costumes, these costumes that I've seen on television screens countless times, it was very emotional for me to be inches away from these costumes that have brought me so much joy and inspiration over the years. And having that connection to a movie and to see that actual costume in real life was a surreal and extremely memorable moment, and one that I will never forget. I'm a geek. At the end of the day, I am this geek who adores Superman, and sharing my passions each day through my love of Superman and my love of the message that Superman projects to the world. I feel that I'm, in a way, providing a service to Superman. And within that service, I feel a responsibility, to be the best person that I can be, to do the right thing. Something that really, one of those pet peeves is when I see somebody out in public or in the public eye wearing, say, a Superman t-shirt or a Superman hat, and they don't act accordingly. Now, when I say that, I don't mean, they're stopping a bank robbery or catching a speeding train. I mean just acting like a good human. I've seen people throw rubbish on the floor in Superman t-shirts. I've seen people not act accordingly, being rude in public, not being very mild-mannered in a way. So whenever I'm wearing the S, which is more often than not, I feel it's my duty to be on my best behaviour, to be the best version of me, whether that be opening up a door for someone, or giving up my seat on a train or a bus, or just helping someone out. I used to have this crazy concept back when I was a little bit younger, of wearing a Superman t-shirt under my shirt, and I'd have this daydream that I would save the day in some random situation, whether it be giving out first aid or helping someone out in a jam, and I would reveal the Superman t-shirt underneath my shirt. But that situation has never came about. But it's not about being recognized as being superheroic or doing the right thing. It's just wanting to do the right thing. And when I wear that Superman S, I feel an obligation to be the best version of myself. And I think that's a good way to be. Even though Superman is a fictitious hero, but I still look up to him, and that figure, that character, still inspires me to be the best version of myself. So I don't see any problem with that. I only see a positive outlook for my love for Superman. And if I can make one other person feel the same way, then hopefully Superman is proud of me in a way. What else about me and Superman? Why does he? Why do I attach myself to him so strongly? Um, I wouldn't say I relate myself to Superman. I relate myself to some of the circumstances that he has been in. So, growing up watching Smallville, obviously, there's a big part in the Superman storyline throughout all the years where Superman has to deal with the loss of his father. Something that I also had to deal with at a young age. My father passed away when I was 15, and I dealt with it the best way I can, and I had good days and bad days. But through my love of Superman and the way that over many years that storyline has been tackled in comics and books and TV shows and films, I found a way to deal with my issues of the loss of my father at a young age and how I would approach the world um, through, in the future, how I would react to that. And how I have done that, I mean, is the fact that I try to keep um, the memory of my father alive by doing at least one thing a day that would make him proud. Whether that could be the smallest of tasks to the biggest of tasks. But if I continue to do that one thing a day that makes my dad proud, I am keeping his memory alive, but also being a good human in the same way. And over the years, Superman has sort of almost done the same thing where he wants to not only make Mark Kent proud, but also Pa Kent as well. His father taught him many of his life lessons, just like my father did. And I'm having a bit of a therapy session here, but that connection to Superman and his dad is what makes the connection to me and my father so strong as well. So I've got another thing to thank Superman for. What else is there? Superman is a hopeful and positive guy. He looks for the best in people and the best in the situations that's given to him. I am not somebody who likes to sit down and mope and be sad about things. Each day is a gift, and life's too short to be miserable. Of course, we all get good days, and sadly, a lot of us get bad days as well. But I try myself to face each day with a positive and a hopeful attitude. Positivity is key for me. Just like the sun gives Kal-El powers, for me, it is happiness. Making other people happy makes me happy. And as long as one person in the room I'm in is having a good time, then I'm doing a good job. And that's something that I like to do across my social media pages as well. They're a happy place, a safe and positive place. And I want people to be happy when they see my posts or read my reviews or watch my videos. I'm not a naysayer. I'm not negative. I'm positive as can be. And so Superman. But, we all get good days, but those bad days can come around any time. And I use Superman to push through those bad times. If I'm having a rough day, I'll watch a classic episode of Smallville, or I'll put on a Superman film and just escape for 90 minutes to 2 hours. And normally, I'd forget what was making me feel blue before. And it's a bonus because I get to watch a Superman film in the whilst I'm making myself happier. So that's good. Um, Another response to when people say, "Why Superman?" and "What Superman?" Why do you like this Superman? And why do you like this Superman? You can't like this Superman and not that Superman, sort of thing. But again, every version of Superman is one that I like. I've got some that I like more than others, but my mood can change, and I could like another Superman. It's the fact that I will always like, no matter what version is there, the Superman that I'm currently enjoying. You know, it's a character that's given me so much entertainment over the years that I can't not like Superman. It's going to take a lot for me to dislike this character that has become such a big part of my life. And I honestly don't think I will ever dislike Superman. And in that case, I can't dislike an actor who plays him or a version of Superman that appears in the comics. I did have a bit of a, let's say, a dislike to Tyler Hoechlin. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. A few years ago, he posed in a photograph of himself. He was wearing the Superman costume from the Supergirl show. And in this photograph, he was sticking up his middle finger to the camera. Now, I'm no prude, but to me, in that particular instant, he wasn't respecting the suit and the legacy that is Superman. And I did have a bit of a grudge over him for that. But over the years, I have spoken with people who have met Tyler, and they've talked about the fact that he's a good egg, and that everyone makes mistakes. I'm far too well aware of that. But that was an image of Superman that I didn't really need to see. But you know, everyone makes mistakes. But I still like what he's doing for the brand. He's still representing my hero, and I can't be too mad at him. I certainly, if I saw him in the street, I wouldn't ignore him. Put it that way. Anything else? I've been talking for a while. As I said, if I were to get started talking about why I like Superman, I would have problems stopping. But he means a lot to me. That's the thing about it. It's the fact that he is an inspiration to me and to others. Earlier on today, I talked with people about why I like Superman, and they explained to me why they didn't used to like Superman, but they do now. They've started to learn what Superman is about, and that is a big part of it. Everyone has to find their own interpretation of what Superman means to them. People that don't understand Superman don't necessarily understand the stories or the character. Many people say he's overpowered and all the stories are just being repetitive. Everything's been done. You can't really do too much with a man that can't be beaten. And I think that's the complete opposite. You know, there's a story behind the character of Superman. There's thousands of stories behind the character of Clark Kent, and I will never get tired of reading them or watching them. Those stories mean a lot to me, and will continue to mean a lot to me. He's he's just a guy trying to be the best version of himself. Ah, am I boring you yet? If you've gotten this far, well done. So yeah, he's a fantastic character. He's taught me a lot about life and a lot about myself in the meantime, as I sit here in front of my laptop recording this. I can see, no matter where I look around my fortress of solitude, the Superman emblem. I can see books. I can see Funkos. I can see artwork on my wall. Superman is a part of me now. I will never get away from that, and I don't think I want to. I often get texts from friends and followers. I'll get tagged in a photograph, say, of a Superman item or a Superman comic, and they'll say, "Oh, I saw this Superman thing and thought of you," or "Superman's on television. Uh, you might want to go and watch it." It's it's something that I've gotten a bit of a kick out of. Is that when somebody sees something Superman related, they would think of me. Um, I like that. I will never be Superman, but I like to be associated with him, and that's one of the things I like about my social media channels. It's that I'm sharing my love for Superman with others who like Superman and others that love Superman. He will always be a talking point for me. He's one of my biggest passions in life. Now, I don't want to make everyone on Earth a Superman fan. You know, some people can't be turned, but I'm lucky enough that the followers on my accounts, they all get along. There's never too much, you know, bad comments and people arguing in the comments about saying, "I like this version of Superman," or "I like that version of Superman." If you like this, then you can't like that. As I said, everyone comes there and they have a nice time. And if they don't, then actions will be taken. But yeah, Superman is the guy for me, I'm afraid. He will always be my superhero, my role model, as will Clark Kent. I don't think I'll ever be a reporter for a famous newspaper, but I will always love reporting, whether that be from events or days out or holidays or trips to Metropolis to the Superman celebration. And just a heads up, my next podcast is going to be all about last year's fantastic trip to Metropolis, Illinois, to the Superman celebration. And I'll be going again this June, and I cannot wait. But yeah, Superman and I go together. And for as long as I can, I will continue sharing my love for Superman, whether it be in videos or artwork or sharing news about the Man of Steel. I'm still waiting for that Henry Cavill sequel. I still have hope for that. That's the thing about Superman. It's that hope aspect, something that I will always cling on to till my very last breath. So yes, Superman. What does he mean to me? He means a lot. He really does. Without Superman, I wouldn't have met so many fantastic people throughout my life. I wouldn't have been lucky enough to go to some fantastic experiences or go on adventures and do things that I never thought I would do. Superman is the reason for that, and that is one of the reasons why I will always be thankful to Superman. He is a symbol of hope, and that is something that I'm all about. Being hopeful, being positive, and being the best version of myself, and doing my best to inspire others to be the same way. Everyone has this power inside of them for positivity and to be their best self. And we don't need superpowers to be that way. We can just choose to be our own heroes. And if you've got a cape, wear it. I'm looking at my cape hanging up in the corner right now. And we may not need capes to be heroes. We just need the right positive mental attitude to be the best versions of ourselves. And there we go. I probably missed out a lot of the things that I wanted to say in this podcast. I will probably come back to this topic again one day. But as I said, once I get started talking about Superman, I do have a lot of problems finishing. But there we go. Thank you for listening. Again, if you've made it to the end of this podcast, congratulations. And I hope you will come back for the next one. I'm Luke, the Geek of Steel. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTubes. thank you for listening and have a good day.